Okay, this is Professor Snell, fall 2018 E120. I'm going to model the practice midterm that I put on Canvas. By the way, I would suggest you, of course, do this yourself before you look at how I modeled it, because the whole point of the midterm is for you to do it by yourself within a time frame. If you haven't done that very often in your assignments, if you've done everything in class with me, or maybe checking the instructions as you go in a pre-lab, you're not going to get the same experience, and you'll learn that if you haven't done that you probably don't know this as well as you might think you do. So practice these exercises. Find something else to model that's similar to this if you want to do well in the midterm. All right, anyway, so we have this, I'll call it a file drawer, or just a drawer that's made up of two parts. It's got a box and a drawer with a little handle on it that's put together into an assembly. So let's start by modeling the box. We see we're in inches, so I'm going to open up an ANSI inch template. We can also see that this sketch is on the front plane, right? Because this is the front of this box, this is the top, the front, the right side. So we can just emulate this sketch on the front plane and extrude it back. So let's do that. We have a 22 by 26 inch interior box. So let's just make on the front plane, let's make a center rectangle. Add our dimensions: 26, 22. One thing I noticed is I've got 3 decimal places here. I don't really want that, so I'm going to come and change that. I'm going to pull this down because I think that's the way it is in the drawing. Might as well just make it the same so we can easily review. So we're at 26, 22. That looks similar. Now, this wood, or whatever this is, this material is 1 1/4 inches thick. So let's just offset everything. Our initial sketch 1 1/4 inches out. If I select this line on our sketch, you'll see that first of all it's going in the right direction, and the entire sketch was selected when I selected offset entities. That's because I have this select chain button selected here. So if you turn that off, you can just select one line, but if you want the full contour to be selected, you want to have select chain on. Okay, so we make it 1.4 inches, and now we have the basic box of our part. Looks correct here. All we need to do now is make this little 2-inch leg, and we see that the leg goes all the way back, right? It's a extrusion of the full length of the box. So I'm going to, there's different ways we could do it. I'm going to do it by first drawing a leg on one side, and add my dimension. Then I'm going to draw a center line here, because I want to mirror this thing I've just done. I need to trim this edge, or this line here, right? Now that looks like this over here. Now I'm going to mirror this leg, these 3 lines, about this center line. And all I need to do now is trim that extra line here with the power trim. And I think I have exactly what I have in the drawing. All the dimensions are there, and I see that I am fully defined. So now I'm ready to extrude. I'm going to extrude forward, or toward me, I guess you'd call it. I don't know exactly how to reference it, because I'm going to extrude this sketch forward 24 inches. That's going to create a hollow box, and then I'm going to come back and extrude this little section here to make the back. So extruding 24 inches to get our hollow box. Right? It's hollow. Now I'm going to select that sketch again and extrude just the, I'm going to go to selected contours, extrude just that back region forward 1.4 inches, because that's what, the thickness of our material is. We see it's the same, the back is the same as the top, so we know it's 1.4. I come forward 1.4, and now I have this box. Let's cut a section through it and see if it looks right. Seems correct. Okay, so, and if we go to, let me get out of the section, we go to an isometric view. This looks like this, so I think we've done this part correctly. So let's go ahead and save it. And by the way, of course, I should have saved that right from the very beginning. Hope that you do better than I do on this kind of thing. I'm going to, let's see, this is 18F E120, practice, midterm, cab box. Let's say 1 in case I do another one. Okay, great. Now let's model. Let's start a new part. Well, actually, we know it's going to be ANSI inches, so we can start a new part. We'll leave the other one open. That's fine. Our drawers, obviously, it fits. So it's 26 by 26 by 22. Well, that's actually the wrong dimension here. We don't actually know. We're not given the interior dimensions. I'm going to assume that this is going to fit inside. Well, I'm not assuming. I know it is. It's going to fit directly inside this. This is the assembly drawing. We see that the drawer fits inside the box we just made. And these are going to be coincident mates, I can tell. So I'm just going to start by drawing this face here. This is again the front face here. So we know it's going to be on the front plane. And I'm going to draw a 26.6 by 22.6 inch center rectangle. So it's basically the same process as before. 22.6. I think it's 26.6. If it's not, we can change it easily. 26.6 by 22.6. Is that right? 26.6 by 22.6, yes. Let's go ahead and set these up the same way they are in the drawing. And now, that's the exterior of our box. We can see how it's going to overlap. We're going to have a face that overlaps the interior, and this face will then push up against our assembly. Our box to make our assembly right here, see? So to do that, we then need to figure out how far we have to offset this sketch inward. Looks like we are points that the thickness, wait, where are we? The offset here, right? We need to figure out how much, we want to draw a sketch that's going to make this, that we can extrude back to make the box off of this. And we know how big it is because, so the outside of this is 26, the outside of our drawer is 26 inches, and this is 26.6 inches wide, so we know that it's a 0.3 inch overlap on both sides. So using that, I can now offset to the interior, got to reverse, 0.3 inches. Now I have the shape that I can both extrude forward to make the front of the drawer and extrude back to make the full drawer. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to select my extrusion, select both of these faces. So I'm going to go to select contours, select both of these regions, come forward. I think it's 0.7 inches I saw. Yes, this is 0.7 inches thick, our front face. So I'm going to come forward 0.7. So we have our front face. Now let's take the same sketch and extrude it back. So I need to flip the direction, going back in the other way. I need to make sure I don't want to select the whole sketch. I want to select just this region. And I'm going to come back 22 inches. Okay, so now we have our basic solid drawer. I want to make a cut here, cut out the center of the drawer to make it a drawer. So I'm going to select the top surface of my box, make a sketch there, and then if I offset entities, we'll automatically offset these four, because that's the only thing you could offset off of that face. I need to reverse it, come in 0.7. And we know it's 0.7 because we just were talking about it. It's the same. It's all the same material, so this is 0.7 wide. So now we have a sketch that we can use to make our extruded cut. And how far down are we going to go? Let's see. It's 0.7 from the... So if this is 22.6, we know that we have a 0.3 overlap on the top and bottom, so that makes it 22. And it's 22 minus 0.7, so that'll be 21.3. See if that works. If not, we can just change it. 21.3. So we do have a bottom. Let's just see, though, if it looks correct. I might cut a section through it. And that looks like that's the right thickness. These are the same. I could go measure it, but I know it's right, so I'm going to just say OK to this. I'm going to get out of the section. So we have our basic box. Now, at this point, let's say we weren't sure. And again, I did the thing, take my advice. I'm not using it. I did not name this part, so if it would have closed without, if I'd have crashed, I would have lost this work. So it's hard to remember to do that, I know, when you're just trying to get something done. But let's save this part. I'm going to call it cab drawer. And give it a number 1 also. Okay. So we have our two parts. Let's go ahead and start the assembly, so then if there's any major problems, we can fix them now, and then all I need to do is come back and spiff this up, put the fillets here, and make that handle. So I'm going to go to make a assembly from part. Of course, we're using ANSI inch, and just bring in one of the parts. Sometimes I have trouble getting to pull in. I don't know why exactly. Now, one thing to notice here, by the way, this is a detail. You see that our origin for this part is at the back. It's going to kind of mess up our shadows because of the lighting is typically set, I think, on the origin. So anything that's behind it is going to be in shadow. So I may just adjust that when I actually finish this. You don't need to do this for your assignment. I'm just kind of pointing out that as you move forward, you want to start making things look the way you want them to look too, not just be drawn accurately. All right, anyway, so I've got my drawer in here, so let's bring in we have the box, let's bring in the drawer. And let's just mate up. I'm using a shortcut. You can go open up your mates. Well, I'll just do it so the way we've done it before. I'm going to make coincident mates between 3 different faces. First thing, though, it looks like this is fitting exactly. Now, of course, in the real world, we'd make a tolerance here, but this is just a little sample project, so we're not going to worry about it. I made coincident mates between 3 different sets of faces, and now this thing is locked in place. So I think that we can look at a section of it and see that it's I think it looks, let me change a few things here. The default at least in my SolidWorks, is for the sections to be drawn solid. So this isn't going to look exactly the same, but we see that this seems about right. I'm okay with that, so I'm feeling good about how I'm modeling this. So I'm going to go back and finish my drawer. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and add my fillets. If I look back at my drawing, I've got an R1 fillet on all 4 edges. So, and by the way, this should say R1 4 times. So whoever made this, namely me, didn't catch that. So let's fillet this to R1, not 0.1, which is what the default is. Remember, you can't select the face, you have to select the edge. Face fillet's going to be very different. See, I just selected a face. I'm going to delete that. And by saying remember, I would say that you should know that, or you can experiment, that selecting the edge gets this fillet that looks like the drawing. A face fillet would fillet all these edges. Okay, so that's looking good. Let's now draw this knob. So the first question is, what plane is it going to be on? Well, if this is the top plane, this is the front plane. The right plane goes directly through here. So if we draw, if we cut a section through here on the right plane, it would look like this. So we can draw our revolve on the right plane, and we're just going to draw half of this and then revolve it. So let's see, 0.8, 1.8, 2. All right, let's just get started. So I'm going to select the right plane, make a sketch on it, go normal to. Okay, I'm just going to rough this in first. Isn't always the best plan, but often it is. See, I did something wrong here. I guess I didn't say sketch, so I'm selecting sketch on the right plane. Now I'm ready to go. And actually, these are just, this plane is infinitely long and wide, but so I'm just pulling out the markers on it so it's out of the way. So this was like about 1.8 or so, I think. I don't know, so this is good enough. Let's just rough this in. That thing. We're going to do a closed revolve. This is not a hollow feature. So I made a complete contour, went all the way around. It'd be clearer if right. So this is a closed contour. Let's start adding some dimensions. I think this is 1.8, right? Looks like I did not hit. Oh, see, that's interesting. This is the problem when you don't look at your dimensions when you're roughing something in. So that I had to come and pull my little. So let me actually go back. I'm just going to Control-Z out of this, so I can. Yeah, right. So we're here at 2.481. Let's go ahead and change this again too. I'm going to go and adjust my units so I only have I don't need all those decimal places. Okay. This is supposed to be 1.8. When I just drew this quickly, I drew it to 2.1, but I roughed in all the parts of this revolve. Now when I switch this to 1.8, what happened is it made this line the correct dimension, which pushed, since we didn't have these relations defined over here, it pushed our other line past the face of the drawer. We don't want that. So really, when you're drawing this, and I've said it before, you should be more, if you're going to rough it in like this, you need to be more accurate from the beginning. But I think it's good to show this in practice. Okay, not sure what that's doing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add a tangent relationship here. It didn't want me to have... Okay, this is great. You see how this is just going crazy because I did not. I had to pull this up. Let me turn on my relations. Okay, probably should have done that earlier so that we had known why things were fully defined. Let me add this dimension now. Yeah, so you see what was happening for some reason because it didn't have a relationship between this line and this arc. It didn't want me to add that this dimension first, so I went in and just created a relationship between this arc and this line, the tangent relationship, and then it let me create the dimension. So if you hit things like that in a sketch, just step back, see what's going on. Just try something different. But the real solution here would have been to have more accurately roughed in these dimensions. Like, so for example, when I was drawing this simple contour, if I'd have pulled out here and just watched that it was around 1.8, come over here about 1, then I wouldn't have been having these problems. Well, not really problems, but just making it more steps. Okay, now I'm going to add the radius of this arc. What other dimensions do I have? So I've got the 0.8, the 1.8, the R.7. I need to add a sketch fillet here that's on both sides because it says 4 times. And I need to add this dimension of 2 for the full diameter. So let's do the 2. Now, if I can't do the thing where, let's say I want to make this a radius, a diameter. I can't do that unless I have a center line to draw off to go past, essentially, to make the radius, the diameter. Again, it would not be wrong to call this just R1. But since I want to make it like the drawing, I'm going to go ahead and do a workflow that will allow me to do that. So I drew a center line here. I'm going to start at the center line, go to the top of the line that I want to dimension, come down past the center line to get my dimension, and then it's 2 that I want. So now we have to add our sketch fillets. So I'm looking back. It seems like we have all dimensions that are here except for these sketch fillets. So let's go ahead and do that and see what happens. I think it was 0.1, and that's the default, so we're cool there. Okay, so I have all the dimensions after I added this sketch fillets, but we're still underdefined, which is weird. I'm not sure quite what happened, but then if I look at this closely, I can see that this point and this point are not parallel, or not horizontal, and they look horizontal here. So let me try to see if that's what went wrong. Or not wrong, what's not complete yet. Right, now that's fully defined. All right, so again, that's one thing with this kind of thing, is that if this is all we've got, it's sort of hard to tell exactly what's going on here. It is saying 4 R.1s, they should be, I think that we can assume that they're related symmetrically to one another. So for some reason, the way I did it, it didn't happen, so I had to come back and add that horizontal relation between the 2 points there. Okay, so now we're fully defined, and we can revolve our knob. Oops, let me get back out. Let me go to a place that we can see it from well. Okay. Sketch, revolve it. You can already see it's working. Be careful. If I, for example, because I have this center line here, let me delete the one that I've got in here. If I accidentally chose this, it worked this time. I did this another time where this center line here, the revolve could not identify that as the center line. Maybe it was not maybe I didn't have it horizontal or something. And so therefore, it automatically chose that when I selected the revolve, and therefore it couldn't make the revolve. But again, I just had to stop and go, okay, what's going on? It says it's not a closed contour, and then I realized I think it's just the center line was not reading correctly. So then I just chose this line as my axis of revolution, and it worked. But okay, we've got our knob. And if we go back now to our assembly, we see that it's asking if I want to update. I do. Get on my section, so everything's already here that we just modeled. The only thing we need to do now is add the colors, because I want you to have some kind of appearance. So let's just go back to our box, our two parts, and do that. I'm going to go into plastics because they have the most colors in these defaults. So I'm going to go to medium gloss and just pick some colors. You can just double click on the color if you want to do the full part, and go to the drawer, do the same thing. Always want me to do that. It's always something. Alright, I'm going to drag it on. I don't know why. That was interesting. Oh, that's why. Because we're not in a... Yeah, it's just the display style I had. Alright, so we've got these colors chosen. They're just appearances. They're not materials. If we go to our assembly, we see they're there. Now here's the thing with this is really bright and doesn't look very accurate to me, or I can't really tell what's going on. It's because of the lights. I'm just going to go and edit these lights. You don't need to do it, obviously. And again, it's because, like I said, you see how the lights are coming to this origin back here, or actually the one in the middle of the part. We want to light up the front of this part, so I'm just going to move all the lights. Now this is a very simplistic way of doing this, but now it's a little bit better. We can at least see the handle. Okay, I'm going to turn off these origins. This is looking decent. I'm just going to go and change my display state so I can see it in perspective. Yeah, that looks nice. It's a nice little cabinet. All right, so we have, and I actually did not save this again, so let me save it. Save all. And what is this? 18F E120. Midterm practice. Assembly. Save. All right. Now what we have to do is make our drawings. So let's just go back. Let's do them one at a time. Let's go back to our CAD box. Make a drawing from part. Now you can see this is my home computer, so I have not actually set up my sheet format. I'm not going to edit that. You should know how to do it, or yours should already be edited. So I'm just going to bring in let's go look at our original drawings. Okay, I'm going to bring in the dimensions. This is something that I'm going to do this a little bit differently than I have in the past, I think. Well, actually, first I need to bring in the views. So I'm just going to bring in a front view, a right view, and this isometric. So I'm going to make exactly the same drawing. Front view, right view, and isometric. And because they're projected off of the front, since I chose front first, these other two were projected because I had this box checked. Then it created connected views. The isometric is not connected because it's not on an axis. It doesn't share an axis with one of the other views. Okay, this is not filling my whole architecture here, my sheet, so I'm going to come up to Edit Sheet Format, or I'm just going to come up to the sheet in my design tree, go to Properties, and change this. I'm going to try 1 to 8. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I think I'll leave it at that. Now I'm going to select this view, go to I'm in Annotations, go to my Model Items. I'm going to try to bring in, let's see, from the selected feature, I'm going to bring in Modeled Items. It says no model item was inserted. Choose yes to change import from option to entire model. Okay. So that did what I wanted. It brought in my dimensions into this. Now again, and I guess these are maybe your defaults too. In this case, I don't think we want 3 decimal points. You're not going to have points taken off if you do. Just need to be neat. And again, when I say that, you're not obviously doing this part for the or this exact thing for the midterm, something else. All right, so that is the basic dimensions from here. Only other dimension we need is the 24. So let's try to select this guy and see if we can bring in some dimensions. We could have just drawn it, but let's just see what happens. I'm going to let's just do the same thing. That kind of worked. We got the same error message. Say okay. Yeah, okay. We don't really want all this. All we want is the 24. And I would even I would line these up so where they're the same on both sides. Just make lines of dimensions is always a good practice. I don't need, so I'm going to select this dimension and hide it. Right click and hide it. I'm going to hide the 22 because we already have it. Why would I have that again? The 1.4 we also have, so I'm going to hide that. The one thing that I don't see is showing the back here. So I'm going to make that happen by selecting the hidden lines removed. So now what are we seeing here? We're seeing inside, or actually what I probably should have done, I could have just made this a section. Maybe I should have done that in the drawing. This is the same thing, but if I would have made this, made a section of this here, then I would have easy access to these lines. But what's this showing us? We're looking inside the part. So this solid line is this back line here, or this front line here. And then this line, of course, is this, and this is this, and this is the back. So let's go ahead, even though I think we know it's the same, it's 1.4, but it could be a different material for the back, so I'm going to now add a smart dimension in my annotations to show us what the back is, that it's 1.4. Okay, now I'm going to give this its a display state so we can see the color. Maybe move these over slightly. And I think that's good. We have all the dimensions we need. It's showing us what we've got. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it both as a drawing and as a PDF. Now if we come open that drawing, you see if we save as a PDF, very clear lines. So we always want to have PDFs of drawings if we're going to, well, just have, even if you're doing screenshots, you want to have PDFs. Okay, so now I need to make the drawing for the drawer. Make drawing from part. Let's see how we did it, what we were given. We have a top view, a front, and a section, and a detail. Okay, so let's do that. But again, the front is going to drive it, so let's go front, top, isometric, let's now make a section. And a detail. I think that this scale is fine, so let's just leave it as it is. Using that technique we did before, I'm going to go ahead and give this its color. Let's just select this one view, come to annotation, model items, and just import into this one view. It's going to give us that same error message. But then I'm liking this. This brings in our dimensions just to that one view. Rather than having to move them like we did that one day in class. Now again, these are just crazy too big for me for this, so I'm going to go and change my document properties dimensions to, again, you can do this however you want. It just needs to be clean. Let me do this. So I like Arial. I'm going to do Arial regular. I'm going to make them, I don't know, 12. It's better. I also want to get rid of these 3 decimal points again. Let's get a little bit fancy here. We'll switch the direction of the arrow. I just clicked on it. Now again, these are things you can learn how to do. I just clicked on a button there that turned, I'll do it again. Actually, it's this one back here, I think. The one at the back of the arrow. I'm also going to change where the text shows up on this because it's funky how this works. Let me see. All right, I like that better. I think I'm going to go do this. That's pretty clean. I think these could even be smaller, but I'm going to leave them like this for now. I should change this to 4 times. Okay, now we have the dimensions on our detail. And, you know, it's bugging me. I'm going to actually go change. I'm going to change this to 10 for this drawing. In my dimensions. Okay, that's nicer. That's cleaner to me. Right, so now what other dimensions do we need? We need all we really need, let's just draw these in place, you know, so we can show you both ways of doing it. So I can just smart dimension these also. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not as good. That was a good example where it wasn't good. I want to come from I'm going to change that to 4 times for the radius. Oops, not 4 equals. All right, here we need just really this dimension, I think, and this dimension. Let's add this dimension here for the width of our face. And the only other, we need to know that the thickness of the interior of the drawer. And let's go ahead and add, even though it's probably should be obvious it's the same, but it may not be, right? It could be a different back material. So let's go ahead and add it here. Okay. I think that drawing is done. I'm going to bring this down a little bit. I don't like that dimension being so close to the top. All right, looks fine to me. I'm going to save it. All right, okay, I like that. And I'm going to save it also as a PDF. So I saved it as a drawing and as a PDF. The drawing is the file that we can open up in SOLIDWORKS. Obviously, the PDF is for viewing, to send to anybody for clear viewing, and where they can't change the model itself. All right, that's done. Now all we need to do is just make a drawing of the assembly itself. So make a drawing from assembly. What do we have here? We have front, section, same thing as we had for the, this is sort of perfunctory. This is just to show us that how it goes together. That is a section. Obviously this doesn't seem to be the right It's 1 to 12. Interesting. Seems like it would have saved it the same. So I think we did 1 to 8 for the other, so let's keep that consistent. I will do a section. And let's make an isometric view here. We don't need any dimensions on this because we already have the dimensions everywhere else. I might, this is a little bit confusing maybe, the hatching, so I may just change the hatching on one of these. You don't have to do that, I don't guess, but I don't know, this is, I don't even know what to change it to. See, these aren't even, I don't think it even has wood in these. That's too funky. Let's just do that. At least they're different. Now, one thing to notice here. So we're done. You can let's just save this. Saving it as a drawing and as a PDF. Okay, so you turn in all those files, you're done with it with the midterm. But let's just look at one thing here. This is maybe a little bit confusing, or maybe it isn't, but there's no line here separating. This is actually, this is wider than this, and this is a section, so you wouldn't necessarily see a line there. Actually, it's a solid material. One way we could change that, if we wanted to, is we can come back to our desk, our drawer, and if we don't, let's see, what are the, this is the, okay. If I don't merge this second extrusion, now you see what happened is this is so funny because it's now saying that it doesn't know what to cut it from, even though we didn't really change anything. I can just delete that cut and redo it. Again, this is sort of extra stuff. I'm not expecting you to do this. Just was going to show it to you. It even has it remembered what the depth was. So we redo it. It's the same thing, right? We just changed that we did not merge this outer part of the first extrusion to the second extrusion. If we go back to the drawing now, you see there's a line here. So since we didn't merge those, this is clearer, so I'm actually going to save that instead. And what would be the difference if this was a solid material that you were making this out of, and you were rabbiting this or cutting this groove? Then you would draw this as two merged extrusions. If it's actually an applied face, you would draw it this way. So that's the difference. Or there'd be other reasons you would do it one way or the other. But let me go ahead and then I'm going to save. And then I'm going to resave the PDF. Let's see if it lets me do it. Yep. Because I'm syncing, sometimes I didn't change the colors, so I'm going to do that. Resave these again. Save. Save as. Huh, I thought I named this with a 1. Okay, now if we go look at our PDFs here, I think that's clearer, I would have, this is an overlap here, like for your final projects. I want this to be, make sure that if we have to adjust the size of this part of the sheet format, then we'll do it. We don't want to have anything overlapping, but for this purpose, it's fine right now. Okay, so that's the modeling of the practice test midterm for E120. Go to it.